Everyone, CPO here, and it's Friday, November 21st, and we're at another live Heli Hangout. So this is Hangout number 35, and my, does time fly. So, technical difficulties tonight. Starting a little bit late by, 9 or 10 minutes. Because I made that stupid mistake of clicking on the do you want to update your operating system and reboot, and I thought, oh yeah, it'll be quick. And then it apparently it's a fairly significant update for Mavericks they just released, so it took about 15 minutes to do the update, which I didn't expect. So that put me a little bit behind. But everything still works as far as that goes. Then, you guys might know, a couple of weeks ago, I started using a chat feature, a live chat feature on my website, on everythingcpo.com. There's a little chat box on the right-hand side. And that was working great about 3 weeks ago. And then their SSL certificates expired. And so the chat was broken for the last Hangout. I guess it was maybe more than 3 weeks, I guess. Anyway, so that was broke for the last Hangout. And then they fixed that. And then I was going to use it for tonight's Hangout, and something's wrong with it. It's broke again. So I'm just about giving up on Now Chat, who is the service provider I was using for that. I really liked it, too. It pretty much did everything I wanted it to, including allowing me to have people log in with their Facebook credentials and Google Plus, so they didn't have to create specific accounts. But I apparently can't trust it anymore, so I'm about to kick it to the curb, find some new solution, hopefully free. I spend enough money on website hosting and Google search queries these days that I'm hoping that I don't have to pay for a chat feature as well. So. If you have any recommendations for a cool chat, I use WordPress, so WordPress plugins would be nice. Feel free to let me know via email. So anyway, so we're getting a little bit of a late start, and it's thin pickings tonight. I know a lot of guys are either traveling or working or whatever. So as usual, we'll have as much fun as we can without the whole gang, and then people will pop in, I'm sure. Throughout the night. So one thing that's been significant in this Hangout is actually the day after the last Hangout, I created a podcast for the Hangouts. So an audio-only feed of these Hangouts is now available for those of you that either can't or don't want to or hate watching these on YouTube or embedded on my website. So I created a standard podcast. I'm actually self-hosting it, and if you go now to the Heli Hangouts page on everythingcpo.com, if you go to the menu bar, you'll see Heli Hangouts right underneath my logo that says Build, Fly, Crash, Repeat. Now, if you go and click on any of the previous Hangouts, just a few. I mean, I think I only went back to like 29 or something. But if you go and click on those, you'll see the video feed, the embedded YouTube video, plus now directly under that is the audio only. In addition to that, you can use iTunes to subscribe to the podcast. So if you do a search on iTunes for Heli Hangouts or CPO or Chris Poldevart or I think everythingcpo.com, if you do searches like that, you should be able to find it. It's got my my CPO Hangout helicopter logo on it, and you can subscribe from iTunes. And then if you're not an iTunes user, and you just want to plug in the feed directly into whatever podcast app you prefer, you can plug in everythingcpo.com / podcast/feed, and that will allow you to subscribe using whatever method you desire. So the easiest way is to use iTunes. If you want them automatic, or you can always browse them on my website, or you can plug in that feed URL. And so there's been a few people that have been asking me over the last couple of years to put that feed up. So now that I'm on podcast number 35 or Hangout number 35, I figured it's probably time I cater to the people that isn't convenient for them to watch videos. So anyway, so that's been done. As far as my heli activity in the last couple of weeks, there has been absolutely nothing. The good news is I haven't crashed any helis in the last couple of weeks, but primarily because I haven't flown any. My 700 is beautifully hanging on the wall with all the other helis. I did experiment with the GoPro last. That's the last time I actually flew it. I have yet to make it to the flying field. It's been really busy, and then when it's not busy, the weather's been horrible. So I've kind of been in a rough couple of weeks for getting to the field. Mostly weather, but other commitments too have been getting in the way. Tomorrow, I was hoping to be able to get to the field and take out the 700 and take out my Apollo 50, which is the pattern plane that I've been working on. But I've got commitments now in the morning through basically dark. I hate this time of year. It's like dark at 4:30. I mean, 4:30, 5 o'clock. If I haven't gone anywhere, I may as well just forget it. So that's getting frustrating. Yeah, I haven't been to the field yet. So I did. I know this isn't heli related, but this tells you where my time has been. I did do a quick video on a surface vehicle, a Andromeda little dirt truck that we got for my son. So played around with that a little bit. I've been playing with my tricopter and FPV gear. I don't think I had everything set up. I don't remember. Did I do this on the last Hangout? Did I have the FPV gear set up?
No, you'd purchased it, but you hadn't installed it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I got the. See, the problem is I do the RC Hangar Time podcast as well every week. So I feel like I've talked about this stuff before, and that's because I've done it on the podcast, but I haven't done it on the Hangout. So I feel like I'm being extra repetitive. So yeah, I put the I got a review unit from Ready Made RC, which is their 5.8 gigahertz, 600 milliwatt FPV quick start package. It comes with a CCD camera. It comes with the Immersion RC 600 milliwatt video transmitter. Comes with two of the SpiroNet circular polarized antennas. Comes with a Uno Immersion RC Uno. I think it's a 2000 V2. Don't quote me on that. Video receiver. Comes with a little LCD display. Really cool, complete pack. Even comes with a tripod to set everything up. So I set that all up on my tricopter and played around with some of that. So I'm expecting to be building a little FPV quad racer. I've talked about that for the last couple of weeks, but I think I'll be getting that soon. I'm hoping in the next week or so I'll see that stuff get shipped to me. So then you'll be able to see some activity on that. So little multi-rotor work. I got my plane built, but I haven't had a chance to maiden it. And then cars, I got it. Man, I think the ground stuff is going to become addicting as well. It's too easy to go out in the front yard, and my son can just like drive around in the grass in the circle, and so we have another like dirt truck coming. This time is a 1/10 scale. I want to get a little bit bigger. The first one was a 1/14 scale, so this will be a 1/10. So anyway, has nothing to do with helis, but I think we're going to take them to the flying field so that while I'm playing with things that fly, he can play with things that roll around on the grass. So, I think that's about it. What have you guys been up to? Let's see. I'll start with you, Casper.
Well, I hope this isn't a common theme, but I got to play the no-fly card also for pretty much the same reasons. The only window I had really for weather-wise was just after the last broadcast, and I had to commit to finishing off a deck before winter set in, so I had to stain and seal that thing before winter struck, which was the day following. So other than a little sim time, that's been the extent of the activity. Purchased a few things, a set of 700 blades, some rails, and set those aside for whenever I get a 700 put together. And
do you have something in mind yet for that?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Blade 700, even though they're phasing it out. The good reviews on the RC Hangout guys.
The RC Heli Nation?
Yeah, I think Nick did the review on that and liked it. Then he went and traded it to Dan for a Goblin 500, so go figure.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's not like Nick doesn't have a couple of 700s on hand, so
yeah,
I don't blame him. But yeah, I've heard him talk about how cool that helicopter is, and kind of got me interested in it a little bit. And if they're closing them out, maybe you'll get a good deal on one.
Well, yeah, I did. I picked up a used one with motor and servos for, I think it was 700. And then,
oh, wow.
So I picked up an ESC and an AR 7200BX, which is the standard for the Blade. So it's sitting next in line after I finish the 600 build. So I've got the steps set up. I just have to put it all together.
Nice.
But, I've been listening to a few more podcasts I've discovered. I guess a Flight Test is one that I think you know about. A couple guys that do a lot of the plank work and a little drone work. Is the RC Radio Network out of Atlanta. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys.
I don't think I've listened to them recently. They're actually, I had a whole bunch of podcasts all queued up for a while, and then something happened. I switched from Android. I switched from Android to iPhone sometime last year, and ended up having to rebuild my podcast library. I ended up, moving to iTunes, or actually I use Podcast on my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I tried to get most of the podcasts back, and there's a few of them I still haven't reloaded. And that it sounds familiar, but I haven't listened. I know I don't have them on there now, so I'll have to check that out.
Well, I guess they've been around doing this for 5 years, so they've got quite an extent. And they cover drones and helicopters and planks and I think cars to some degree. So you might check that out. They had some interesting, I think their last podcast was on the 18th of November, and they had some stuff about FAA, and which was kind of interesting and disturbing at the same time. So a lot of information out there, you just have to tap it.
Yeah, too much of it, actually. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. Although they are kind of spaced out enough that you can catch and listen to one a day, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, that's one of the things I know we talked about on RC Hangar Time was, what's a good day to release a podcast so it's not, everybody trying to dump them out at the same time. And we were talking about kind of the spread of podcasts and when the releases are, and it is kind of convenient that they're throughout the week. So by the time you're done with one, you can hit a new release of another one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find myself waiting for the next podcast to release because I've listened to them all, and then there are some weeks where I feel like I'm behind and I'm trying to catch up on them all.
Yeah.
The first ones to go are usually I hate to say this, a flight test. I listen to them quite a bit, but when I get too busy, that's the one that kind of starts to go by the wayside. Very rarely will miss a, obviously RC Hangar Time. But RC Heli Nation and RC Today Show, and those are my core, along with RC Hangar Time. So I try not to miss those at all. But yeah, I'll have to check out that other one. There was, for a while I was listening to All Things That Fly. I do listen to Crash Cash quite a bit, but that's another one that if I get way too busy, I'll start to slip on, just because the topics are so broad in scope that I'll start to look at the titles to see if it looks like it's something that I'm looking for or not.
Yeah.
But it's always interesting. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's like everything,
Yeah.
It competes for your time. So, yeah, and RC Radio Network also has the video podcast, so when they can show stuff and run video in it. So sometimes that's a little more in depth than just listening to the audio.
Yeah, that's cool. I do a lot of video technology podcasts. I thought about posting the Hangouts as a video podcast so you can grab it over iTunes, but I don't have the bandwidth to be able to stream video without paying more money, and I can't afford to pay any more money on this stuff right now. So I decided I would play it safe with audio.
Understand.
But and there's always YouTube. So.
And
right,
did you watch Rotors last week?
I did not. Unfortunately, that happens while I'm at work, and I can't stream the video from my work networks, so I don't even get to watch. I will eventually, probably this weekend, go watch the recorded feed, but I definitely didn't make it live. Did you make it on there?
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't join in on it, but I just watched it on Google Live. So
cool.
Of course, Lee was on there, and Dave was on there, and Daniel was on there too. So.
Oh wow! It's like a whole nother. It's like Heli Hangouts in the UK.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's a good format, so I guess they can use it. It works.
Good.
All right. Well, speaking of Daniel, how have you been? I know what you've been up to. You have the world record for Forza 450 build time.
No, I think I'm very slow. This is just 5 hours.
It's 5 hours. All I know here, I gotta say this. All I know is we were talking about the Forza 450 on the last Hangout, and I think within like 2 or 3 days, I saw build photos. So, what did you do? Did you? How did you get one put together so fast?
I just find the bargain from FastLab. I bought the 450 Forza with ESC servos, engine, and flybarless system for 200 pounds. So it's around 300 USD.
Right.
For everything, so it's very cheap. And I just started watching, and after that the stock is going down and down and down, and I just click it and bought it for myself. And when the Forzas arrived, I just start building, and I compared with my T-Rex 450 SE V2, which is a very old helicopter, and I just decided that the T-Rex need to go. So I sell it very quickly on eBay. So I swapped my transmitter to the DX62.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's I changed my full gear from the last 2 weeks.
You've been busy.
Yeah, I changed my workplace, so I have time for building helicopters at the moment.
Okay.
So and when the Forzas arrived, they very well engineered. So I just watching one YouTube video and follow up the video, and I just made 2-3 mistakes, and they just built it itself. So it's very quick and very nice helicopter.
Now you said Forzas. How many did you buy?
Just one.
Okay, just making sure. I know
Yeah,
it looks nice. I really like the look of that.
yeah. All of my friends is complaining. The landing skid is too wide and too big, but the helicopter is much more narrower, slimmer than the Align. So it's the same size of the Align T-Rex.
Okay.
They so slim, and I'm waiting for the weather for do the maiden, but every other Forza owners is said it's awesome, like
Nice.
knife in the air. Yeah, and from the other side, I just changed my DX6i to GX6, DX6. It's a different quality. They speak, so they have a backlight, and the gimbal is coming from the DX9, so it's much more precise.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you what the real difference was that you noticed when moving from a DX6i to a DX6, because I bet that's a pretty common transition for people.
Yeah, and the difference is the color. The screen size is huge. The resolution in the DX6 is better than the DX7S and the DX9, DX8. So they get the screen from the DX9. The software is coming from the DX9. In the DX7S, when you're doing the swash plate and the swash mix and changing the settings for the elevators and other things, you have two different pages, so you need to swap from pages. In the DX6, you see everything in the same screen. Yeah, they have a volume, so if I set to any buttons, to any function where I like to be, I don't need to use the same trainer push button, which everyone is complaining why this is just a button and why I need to hold it. So I can program anything to anywhere. And the main reason why I choose this one and not the GR is the free position switches, because they have 3 of them.
Okay.
Plus they have a wireless trainer. If I have 100% backlight, plus using the high volume, then they drain the battery very quickly. This is the
really?
only
Okay.
bad what I'm find out. When the new
Do they make a larger battery for it?
I'm using standard AAs, so 2000 milliamps, so it's fine. But yeah, and from the gimbals, the feelings, the weight, it looks much more than the proper radio. Plus they have rubber backside. So from here it's a proper rubber, not plastic. So it's
okay.
a little bit. They have a better grip. They have plastic here, so they swap the metal bit from plastic and rubber. So it's only difference. And if you have a DX6 case, the antenna brake is in the same so the antenna is over in the same position when the DX6i brakes. So when you can turn, so you can use the same case. So it's
nice.
from this point of view, it's good, and I like it when you use the headphone, and I just use for my Nano QX, and my wife's using the washing machines, and I didn't hear anything sounds from the transmitter, so I just plug my earphone and they're working fine.
Okay, cool.
Plus they have
so one thing I noticed. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only other difference, if you have electric and the nitro helicopters, when you're saving the settings, you can save not just the settings for the helicopters, you can save the sound and the volume settings for the different helicopters. For the nitro, you can use the 100% volume, and for 40, 60. So it's
Okay.
it saves everything for the helicopters. It's nice.
Does it have an SD card slot?
Yes.
Okay.
In the bottom.
Cool.
When I think the Blade 180 CFX is coming out in a couple of days ago, and they already has this AS3X support update. So I already updated for 1.01. And
Nice.
for the NanoQX, I just going to some sites, download the settings, and they're much more easier than setting everything with the draw button.
Cool.
That's it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your maiden. Are you gonna get it on video?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes,
Fair
but
enough.
I will make a video later.
Okay. Cool. Let's see here. So one thing I noticed, and I was looking at, show me the DX6. Just hold it up. I want to look at it. The antenna. So yeah, okay. So I find it interesting that the antenna, is straight up, because most of the antennas on the transmitters have the break in them so that you can point the antenna sideways and not have it directly pointed at your model. But I noticed, some of them are starting to come back out with the straight up antenna, which just seems odd to me. You know what I
I
mean?
didn't open the DX6, but in the DX9 you have a vertical and a horizontal antenna.
Oh, so you think it might have both horizontal and vertical? That would
Yes,
make sense.
I think they have one small, but I didn't open yet. And if you want to change
Maybe that's what's in the handle there.
Yeah, maybe. And if you want to change the tension, you just need to pull a little bit this plastic and this rubber things, and you have all of the screws here, and you can easily you don't need to open the full body.
Okay, nice. That's cool. Yeah, that's a good point. They may have a vertical and a horizontal. Just think it would be weird to have just a vertical antenna, because the tendency would be to point it at the model, which is exactly what you don't want to do. So, but if they've got a horizontal in there, then that would make sense. I know you guys aren't Goblin guys, but have you seen they finally released some information about the Goblin 380? Any interest at all?
Since I got the Stretch 360, essentially the Stretch 450, which has 360 blades, I'm not real interested. It's kind of interesting. I think it's there to compete with the Warp, and so it'll be interesting to see how it flies.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing is they don't have the Facebook page. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, they don't have the Goblin website updated. But I saw a post on Facebook, and I'm trying to remember what the prices were. But I think they had prices listed, didn't they?
No, the last I saw, prices weren't announced yet. They had a page that showed some of the features and what it looked like, but I don't think they had a price yet.
Maybe it was just the different kits. Okay.
The one
Yeah,
that I saw recently was the three-bladed. That was Nick Maxwell, I guess, not the Goblin.
I like the Urukai from Goblin. This looks awesome.
The Urukai looks nice. Yeah, 3 blades is in right now. Very trendy. Yeah. With the E550 now, the kit comes with a 3 blade if you want it.
Yeah, and this is why I choose the Forza. They have a 3 blade upgrade.
Okay. What does it cost to upgrade to 3 blades on that?
135 pounds. It's around 180 USD plus the blade.
Okay. That's not horrible. Yeah, the 3 blades. I don't know.
Does it
Seems like a
attract
more
to you?
expensive crash to me right now.
I can't figure what the overall attraction is. I mean, it's something different. And unless you're doing scale with a model that's usually three-bladed, I'm not sure if there's a major attraction for having three blades.
Looks better in video.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get more lift. So the lift to weight ratio should be a little bit higher. But also you add a little bit more weight because of the extra blade. And it starts to lose some efficiency after three blades, I would imagine. But I think three is probably fairly okay.
And much more crash cost.
But basically, as far as I can tell, you can lower the head speed and still have higher lift because you've got three surfaces. Basically three wings spinning around. So, and it's surprised nobody else has popped in yet. Usually by now we've got a handful of other people come in. Just checking here to see if I was hoping I could find that Facebook post on the Goblin 380, but I can't seem to find it. I actually think it was it Chris Trevi that posted that? Or Kyle Cashwell or somebody. I've kind of been a little bit interested in checking out a 450 size, 480 size heli. The Goblin 380 and the Forza 450, obviously, that you have, Daniel. And then the other one that I really have been looking at is the KDS Chase 360. That one looks really nice as well. And oddly enough, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why I choose this one because I have the upgrade kit for £150, and after I have Forza 450 EX, which one is a 6S upgrade with Scorpion motor.
Oh, okay.
And the longer blades, so I can use tail cover. But I check it, it's ridiculous. It's £50 just for the cover, and if I crash it, it's again extra cost. But they have a potential.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
I see flying the GR Forza 700. It looks nice.
Chris, you looking
Forza 700 looks really nice.
Chris, you looking for this for your build or your son's build?
I was looking for it for my son primarily. So one of the great things, and actually I should mention that I've got the Spirit Systems flybarless controller coming. So I have a review model coming to me. I don't know if you're familiar with the Spirit.
I've seen it advertised. Refresh my memory.
You familiar with it at all?
Who makes it and what was?
It's so I don't. Here, let me give you their website address. It's spirit-system.com, and they're out of Czechoslovakia, I believe. And basically, my understanding is they've licensed the Bavarian Demon capabilities. I don't know to what extent. I'm not even going to pretend like I know exactly what's going on here, but they basically offer its Bavarian Demon-like capability in a lower price point, including it's got the bailout system, which is fairly well regarded and normally quite expensive. And so that's primarily what I'm interested in is the bailout, but it's also got flight logging and spectrum analysis and all of that stuff. So I was looking at taking this and with the bailout, using it as a trainer for CJ, and I was thinking about putting it on a 450 for him. He wants his own heli. He doesn't want to fly. He's like, I don't want to fly one of your helis. I think he's afraid he's going to crash it, and he's going to, then I'm going to be upset. But I'm like, dude, you can have my Taro 450. You can. No, I want my own. So I started. That's what got me started looking at the different helis, and I don't know. So yeah. So I've got this Spirit system flybarless controller coming. And I will probably end up putting it on my 500, maybe the 450, but I think I'll probably start with it on the 500 because I've got right now an icon on my 500 that everything's built, it's just not set up to fly. And so it would be a pretty easy swap just to pull off the icon and put this one on and then set it up. So that's what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, that's when I was looking at the 450 originally. That's what I was looking at doing is getting one for my son, and then putting this on it and using it as a trainer for him, and then also review it at the same time, which was kind of the point of getting it. So I know that they've been out of stock for a while. They've had a hard time keeping them. It's been a very popular little unit, so I'm fortunate to be able to get a hold of one. Matter of fact, I should track the shipping on that. See how far away it is. I think it's going to take a couple weeks to get here, to be honest with you.
I use different flybarless.
Have you ever flown anything with a that?
I'm using a V-bar clone. It's much cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people who really like the V-bars.
Yeah, it's easy to set up because then the software is very nice and easy.
Yeah, I have no idea. Holy crap, the tracking website for this is in Czechoslovakian as well, so I have no idea. I can't tell you anything. I know it's shipped, but and I don't have it yet. That's all I can tell you. So we'll see. Posta online. Anyway, so yeah, so that'll be my next project, and if I get that in the next week or so, I'll probably just work on that fairly quickly, and like I said, put it on the 500. I need to get the 500 flying again anyway, so what I really need to do is get that 700 out for a proper flight.
Have any thoughts of a 250 UAV to do FPV racing?
Yeah, I'm definitely building a 250 quad racer. Matter of fact, I'm waiting on Ready-Made RC to send me one. That's the one I expect to have it in the next week or so, with some new motors and ESCs that they're going to start carrying. So, and I'm going to put that FPV package on it. That's kind of the whole point, is to put those two together and see what can be done. Have some fun. We've got at our flying field, we've got some it's kind of like a little foresty wooded area with some deer trails and stuff like that, and there's some walking trails, so I think we can build an FPV course. In the summertime, I guess the spring, they'll have some cornfields that kind of grow, and we could probably figure out something fun to do there too, but I think they're required to cut it once a year by the state or the county or something like that. They have to trim it down. So it's been trimmed down now, but it'll grow back. And last last summer, it was, I don't know, higher than me, so probably 7-8 foot high stalks that would be fun to kind of cut out some paths or something, see if we could fly through it. But right now I'm just practicing in my yard, which is all right. It's keeping me busy.
Or find a parking garage like that video you posted.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I did hear somebody gave me fair warning that it's going to be really expensive if you start flying in the garages because the crashes are a lot harder there. But those videos are cool. I really like seeing that stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, I heard that the DJI Phantom is now going to be carried in Walmarts and Best Buys.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't know that I like that idea.
Yeah, that's the trouble. Puts it in the toy category.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just weird. You can go like buy a microwave and a gallon of milk and an iPhone and a DJI Phantom from the same store. Actually, that's Walmart, but everything but the gallon of milk you can also get at Best Buy. So,
yeah.
And a popcorn maker at Best Buy. Yeah, but I don't know. They've been a lot of bad press coming up again lately with Phantoms and other random multi-rotor type stuff. There's something in the air right now that everybody's wanting to talk about it again. So I know the the AMA was going to do a live podcast or some sort of a live talk QA or something like that about the FAA. I'm going to see if there's any new information on that. I got some email from them that said they were going to do something here soon live, and I don't know if that's because there's some significant information coming out soon or not. I don't know if you've kept up with that at all.
I guess the NTSB ruled on the big lawsuit with the FAA and the one drone user. It's been going around for about 2 years now. Initially, the FAA was rejected, saying that they didn't have governance over essentially RC flying items. But the latest appeal found in favor of the FAA as being able to control anything that flies in airspace, which is kind of frightening, to include paper airplanes.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that they want to protect the airspace because that's their job, but
yeah. And I guess there was some
I think that
some recent news about airplanes saying that they saw drones on the flight path as they were coming in to approach. 3 different instances lately, so that's some more bad press added to it.
Yeah, I wonder how much truth there is to some of this stuff, or if it's just fear mongering.
Yeah.
So I found the information about the broadcast. It says join AMA Executive Director Dave Mathewson and Government and Regulatory Affairs Director Rich Hansen next Tuesday for a live SUAS/drone broadcast. The broadcast will provide an update on the upcoming small UAS rule and FAA's interpretation of the special rule for model aircraft. Dave and Rich will also answer your questions regarding the SUAS/drone issue. So it's 11/25, November 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And you can go to modelaircraft.org/gov to find that. So unfortunately, it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which means I'll be at work and won't be able to stream it. But anyway, it might be worth checking out. And it says about the upcoming rule So I wonder if there's, I mean, I haven't heard any new news lately, but it sounds like they're going to make some announcement or something here pretty soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't like it. And the bad thing is, we were really hot and heavy on this topic, over the summer, and then I think most people have forgot about it. As far as our opportunity to influence the FAA's decision makers by giving them compelling arguments, right, and petitions and things like that. And then we were, everybody was promoting, and then that kind of died off. And of course, they extended the opportunity for response, and everybody just kind of forgot about it. Now all of a sudden, it seems like in the last week I've heard story after story about drone use, or FAA rules, or people getting in trouble for doing stupid things, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit nervous personally, because I know that there's a Canadian company doing a documentary on the age of the drones, and they actually asked for permission to use a article from my website. And I'm like, yeah, sure, you guys can use. It was basically, nothing negative, just talking about some of the drone activities, and I'm using air quotes for drone, that were happening over the summertime. I just put up an article on my webpage, and they said they want to use that in their documentary. My assumption is they're probably just doing like a little quick tidbit on headlines, that have to do with UAVs. And then, so I'm like, yeah, sure, you can use it, and they're going to give me credit or whatever, and I don't know when it's going to air. And now I'm thinking, well, I hope that they don't, I hope this isn't a hate story. But the article that they're using is, I posted on March 8th, so last spring, and the title is Federal Court rules that civilian use of drones is legal. This is big news, and basically it's just when the FAA originally got overturned by the courts with the Raphael Perker and the TBS crew, and that's of course what started the recent activities, is them looking at how to get more bites since they lost it in that battle. But that's all I did, was post up an article about that, and put a bunch of links on where to find news about that announcement, and now this broadcast company wants to use it for a drone documentary. So I don't think they can use it for anything bad, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if they twist it somehow that I don't expect them to.
Once you release it, it's out of your control.
Yeah. Well, it's out of my control anyway. It's on the internet, pretty much. It's like a bullet. Once you fire it out there, it's gone. But I was happy they asked me for permission to use it in the broadcast. And pretty much I'll always give people permission if they ask. I get permission every once in a while for pictures or things like that. But yeah, unfortunately, they don't tell you. They don't give you the liberty of telling you what their motives are. It's on Canadian TV anyway. Nobody probably will see it. I'm just kidding. That's a joke for all my Canadian friends. So I don't even know when it's going to air, but I imagine it'll be soon probably. They've got to. I mean, if you're going to do a documentary on drones, now's the time to do it. If you wait too much longer, it'll be old news.
Yeah. I think I could easily see the FAA making another classification for some RC type equipment requiring a ground school and proof of flight proficiency, much like they do for real airplanes. Where they make the cutoff in size and power and stuff like that, I don't know. That's where it gets kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I could see them doing something like that as well. My my challenge with it is the overhead that it would take to manage that. I mean, you figure we've got, what was it, like 50,000 some odd AMA members alone, and there's a million people that have nothing to do with the AMA that are hobbyists of some degree or another. That's just a lot of people, a lot more than we would see probably in general aviation for private pilots licenses. So I think logistically it would be a nightmare to try and do that. But I'm not against it, and maybe that's something the AMA would step up and volunteer to manage. Of course, that postures the AMA in a position where they're once again the authority, the governing body in aero modeling, which they've been working on that for years anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I hope that they're smart enough to break out the different types of modeling, whether it be weight or capabilities or locations. I would really, I'd hate to see more of the things that impact, father-son, building relationship in the local park with a little, micro park flyer that doesn't hurt anybody even if it hits you. I hate to see that type of stuff get wrapped up in it. I mean, okay, 700 size helis, or I don't know, pick your pick a wattage for these larger 50, 60-inch wingspan airplanes. I could see them wanting to say, look, if you're going to fly something this big and potentially dangerous, then let's ensure that we've got some common understanding of safety. Maybe it's a basic safety quiz that you take in order to get a model aircraft license or something. Yeah, I don't really know, but I mean that's kind of what they're doing, right, with the ham radio licensing, right? It's very similar. As a matter of fact, I'm working next Tuesday. I'm going to be sitting down testing for. I'm hoping to get my general ham license at even above technician. Not sure why, but just in case I decide I want to do more with ham radio, technician license I need to be legal for FPV, because running more than 25 milliwatt transmitters puts it into the class of usage that you would the FAA would require a technician's class ham radio license. So that's a given, and it's a stupid easy test to take, actually. But anyway, so they do have 3 different classes of licenses. So your technician, which is just kind of basic understanding fundamental stuff. Then you've got your general license, which gives you a lot more access to a lot more bands and capabilities, but is much more involved and gets into much more detail than just the generals. I mean, it's very specific to what's the legal band you can use, or what's the maximum wattage with given frequencies, and whose responsibility is it for this and that. I mean, it's a lot more involved. And then you have, on top of that, you've got the extra license, which gives you that little bit, no pun intended, of benefit above the general. So, and the FCC obviously is a government agency, so not too unlike the FAA. So I could see them, maybe saying, look, if you're gonna fly park flyers, or bind and fly micros, maybe it's a weight limit, maybe it's a power limit, maybe it's a battery size limit of some sort. then you don't need anything. Kind of like our FCC laws. You know, if you're flying low wattage, low power, or using standard telephony equipment or radio equipment that's already been certified by the FCC to not disrupt unnecessarily other communications, then you're good to go. If you want to take it to the next level, let's say you want to fly a certain class of helis. Maybe it's 450 to, 450 and up. Then you should have what would equate to a technician's license, so that some basic safety parameters and guidelines, like I don't know, what's the minimum size area for X size heli, or I don't know what they would do, but what are some ways, maybe it even goes into safety as far as electronics and battery charging and all that. Who knows? But find some way to get everybody at least on a baseline of safety fundamentals, with the goal being keeping people from hurting themselves and other people, because that's really what this is all about. It's unfortunately they've slanted it a little bit towards commercial, right? They want licensing revenue for commercial use, which is kind of what muddied the whole thing in my mind. I'm actually okay with the government regulating for safety. If they say, look, we've deemed this is completely unsafe in the hands of certain people who don't have the basic safety instruction, I can roll with that all day long. I'm okay with that. But just don't tell me it's illegal to do it because we're profiting from it, and it's safe if it's okay to do it if you're not profiting, but if you are profiting, it's not okay to do it. That tells me the money is the motive, and I'm not as comfortable with that. But I obviously don't have any control over it. So anyway, I could see them having some sort of a basic, get your license. Maybe the AMA volunteers to run the licensing program, and it would be just like the FCC's licensing, which is, you get it and you're legal. There's nothing prohibiting you from not getting it. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people out there using frequencies and power levels that should require them to be licensed, and they don't have a license, whether they don't know about it or they know that they should and they choose not to because they're not really concerned about it. Either way, you don't see the FCC running around knocking on doors checking for who's doing FPV with a license, sort of a thing. So I think it could run the same way, which is almost like the honor system. The serious people who want to do the right thing are going to get it taken care of, and do it properly. But the real issue is when there's a problem, if there's an accident, if there's a insurance claim with a significant monetary value associated with it, if there's an idiot who flies into protected airspace, or things like that, then this would at least give them the legal backing to do something about it, right? I mean, that's why, if you ask me, that they just put out this NOTAM that said, you can't fly within 3 miles, I think it's 3 miles, of a sporting event or a stadium. I mean, that's stupid already to begin with. We don't need a law to tell us we should do that, but people do it anyway. And then, but I don't see them picking on people that live, or have a flying field within 3 miles of a stadium. What I think is going to happen is when the next guy does something stupid and they catch him, now they've got a little bit of a hammer they can use on him, where before they just had to slap him on the wrist and tell him to go away.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Hey, Daniel, how much UAV usage do you see there, and do you have a problem like we do here with people being dangerous with their UAVs?
We have the same stories about quadcopters flying close to the Southend airport when the planes are landing. I think the near miss is around 35 meters. So
Wow.
it's yeah, it always happens. I think we have the new CAA regulation. I just read in RC Heli Addicts. We have a new regulation for FPVs. I just looking for the forum and they said the full FPV is banned, but I need to check it properly. But we have weight differences. So below 7 kg, it's kind of legal for flying with cameras, but you cannot fly close to the people, and you cannot land between 30 meters from other persons when the camera is working. But I need to read through because definitely for me it's a different language. And yeah, we have a new regulation, and everyone is getting crazy about this because at the moment for the first reading, it's they banned the full FPV things. You need a serious certificate for doing this kind of stuff. And from the other side, all of my modeling mates, which one is flying planes, helicopters, we have a BMFA membership with insurance. So it's third-party insurance. When I hit someone with my plane or with my helicopter, they covering I think in a huge amount of money. If I hit some cars, which one is coming too close to the field, and I'm flying in a BMFA certificate, the flying field, everyone is covered. They have a small differences. If someone do robbery in my house and steal my helicopters, this is covering my RC stuff too. But it's not
that's handy.
huge amount of money. It's 35 pounds a month per year, so I think it's 55 USD per year. And we have two different certificates. You can be A or B license pilot, and a lot of events and competitions require minimum A license for flying there. It's not for the fun flight, but for the competitions you need to have minimum A license. If you go to YouTube, you can check it. The A license is mostly safety regulations. How do you check your gear before you fly? So it's before check, after check, and you can take off, you can hovering, and you can control with every different thing on your helicopter and your plane. I'm still doing it, so I will do it. I think next year. In the beginning, we will have a proper test, and 6 or 8 of us doing the same test.
Nice. It sounds a lot like what most people have to do when they join a club is generally there's a safety officer at the flying field who wants to see evidence that you know what you're doing before they let you just have free reign at the club. So I don't know if that happens, where you're at, or Casper. I don't even know if you've experienced this, but I know the clubs I looked at and the club I'm a member of now, you pretty much either have to have somebody sign off, a safety officer saying he knows that you know how to operate a model before they will give you a membership.
Yeah, we have a lot of safety regulations. You cannot fly alone. You cannot go to the field alone. If accidentally you need to go in the morning and nobody's in the field, you send one text message to your other member, and every 30 minutes they just send you a text. Are you okay? Yes. When you leave in the field, you just send one more text. Yes, I'm leaving now.
Okay.
Basically, before you start flying, one advisor is coming with you to the field, and they check it. You can control the helicopter. You can land in the safe positions. We have area where you cannot fly inside, where we fix the helicopters when we charge the batteries or put the nitro put the nitro to the helicopter. So it's this area you cannot approach with the helicopters. And for us, we have two different flying fields in Watford. One is for helicopters, and for the other is for planes and helicopters. I can send you a link, but this is middle of nowhere. Then the closest building, it's I think 1.5 miles from us, and from the other is in Bolton Airfield. So it's you need to pass minimum 5 different gates before you go into the airfield. So it's far away from everyone. The only things which you can damage is some sheeps, but this is over. The ships is running faster than the helicopters. I don't know how they do it, but they always.
I'm not going to ask how you know.
No, I don't play planes, but I saw some near miss, but and the ships always survive.
Interesting. That's funny. Casper, did you end up finding a field to fly at?
No, I'm still just using a local soccer complex that's usually vacant quite a bit. I'm thinking maybe for an AMA certified flying field that they probably have some of those requirements, such as a spotter and somebody to do a safety review before they can fly there. So it could very well be that those requirements are stated in the AMA field manual.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
I still I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, for this club where you joined, it's how many young people they have? Because I think in our club I'm the second youngest with my 30 years.
Yeah. No, there are some younger. And when I say younger, I'm thinking, well, my son is a member and he's 12, about to be 13. And I think he might be one of the youngest actual members. But there's, 15, 16, 17-year-olds there that I'm fairly certain about. But yeah, there aren't very many under, age like 18 there that I've seen anyway.
This is our hardest point because in the UK you can find easily for fixed wing fields and fixed wing clubs, but usually they don't like the helicopter pilots and the helicopters. So hard to find a club which has a dedicated helicopter field. Plus, for example, the city where I'm living, I cannot go to the football pitch and flying there because by the law I cannot do it.
Did you say you're in Farnborough?
No, from Watford.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's Greater London inside M25.
Okay. Yeah, we have the same problem with finding heli-only places too. So you're not alone.
How's your flight? Because in the last hangout you said you're going to fly with the real plane.
Yeah, so I did fly I did a full-scale flight. When was that? Was that after the hangout?
Yeah, you said you need to shut down the hangout now because next day you're going to flying.
Yeah, see, I don't even know what week is what anymore. So yeah, I did a full-scale flight. It was probably the most expensive flight it could have ever been because now I am literally on the track of getting my private pilot's license. It was that much fun. It was a little airport northern Maryland, and I met with an instructor who gave me a really basic ground school kind of. The good news is already being involved in RC. The concepts of aviation carry over. I understand, lift and gravity and thrust and drag. I already understand those fundamentals. I know, that the ailerons make the aircraft roll, and I know how to pitch, and so ground school was pretty much just a okay, you got all this figured out. Okay, let's go do pre-flight check, and we walked around the airplane and checked it all out, and then I got into the pilot seat, which is the left seat, and the instructor got into the right seat, and my son actually got to ride, and my father-in-law, my wife paid extra for a 4-seater plane so that we could all go up, and he let me taxi down the taxiway, and he took off, and we left the ground, and probably about 400 or 500 feet after we left the ground, he said, "Okay, it's your airplane," and I just had control, and I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah." So anyway, we just played around a little bit, went up to 3,000 feet, and I practiced some just straight and level flight. I practiced some ascents, some descents, some left turns and right turns. And then we ran out of time. No extreme 3D in the first introductory lesson, unfortunately. I did tell him I was fully prepared to do at least one roll, but he wouldn't let me. It was a Cessna, so probably not the best vehicle for that. Then he looked at the clock and says, "Oh, we got to get back." He says, "Why don't you just fly to that mountain over there?" And so I started just flying towards the mountain, which, of course, he knows that that's his marker to find the airport again. But we got close to where we could see the airport, and then he took control over and landed it, and that was it. I logged officially 0.8 hours of training in my logbook, which we started. And then, of course, they hand me this package that says, "Okay, now, here's all our deals so that you can get your private pilot's license." And, the basic rundown, is all-inclusive. Everything you need to do from this school to get your license was $10,000. And I of course, was all in. I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. Can we start tomorrow?" And my wife just looks at me and goes, ain't happening." I'm like, "Come on, honey, this is nope, it's not happening." So anyway, so it was a depressing ride home because I had so much fun, but when I found out what it was going to cost to actually get my license, I was a little bit bummed. But since then, I've been on this mission to get my license, my full-scale general aviation private pilot's license, as cheaply and as quickly as possible. And so I'm a fairly resourceful guy. I know a few people here and there, so I've been doing a lot of talking. I have an employee who has his pilot's license, who's been helping me with some ideas and some thoughts. I've looked into local clubs. Turns out taking lessons from a flight school is quite a bit more expensive than joining a flight club where you can rent the airplanes fairly inexpensively in comparison, and they have instructors that will help you get instruction, but it's still expensive. We're talking, instead of $10,000, I don't know, $7,000. So it's still quite a bit expensive, but I decided I'm going to put myself through ground school, which will save me some money instead of using an instructor for that. So I have a guy who gave me a complete DVD set of a ground school program, so I can self-study that, because the ground school, the whole point of that is to be able to pass the written test. You have to do the written test first before you can do any flight tests. So, working on that, which I think will be pretty easy. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of carryover between the RC modeling aviation and full-scale manned aviation. At least in principle, a lot of the things that we learn through trial and error and crashing into trees actually has some application in the real world, except for the fact that you don't get to crash in manned aviation, which is a good thing. They discourage that apparently. So
yeah, but if you crash,
so build, fly, crash, repeat.
Yeah, if you
build, fly, crash, repeat is probably not the right model.
Yes, if you crash, you cannot buy the parts for the helicopters or for the planes from eBay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a little more than a $200 crash for sure. So I'm working on getting ground school. I had a guy who had a full-on Microsoft Flight Simulator X, which is a little bit older, 2006 version, but it doesn't matter. It's still cool. And he had the whole like hardware controls, the yoke and the foot pedals and everything. He let me borrow. So I've got a full-on flight sim, in my office that I've been practicing. Like literally, the airport near me here on the simulator, I can take off from it and then fly to another airport and land and go hit the fly up the bay, and I'm just having fun with that. But a couple of the things in the works I'll probably talk about a little bit later, but I've also joined Civil Air Patrol, which is going to be really cool, a great way to stay connected to aviation. It's a service organization, right? It's the official auxiliary of the Air Force. It's funded by the Air Force, but it's a volunteer organization, and they have 3 primary missions: emergency services and aerospace education, and they also have cadet programs. So a lot of the stuff that they do and deal with emergency services, like locating missing persons, downed aircraft, missing boats, all of that search and rescue type stuff. I have already got that experience. I used to do search and rescue at the sheriff's office. But the cool thing about it is they won't train you to become a pilot, so I can't use the Air Force to get my pilot's license. But once I have my pilot's license, I can pretty much get as much flight time as I want with training missions and real life missions from the Civil Air Patrol, and they will also help you get any other additional training you need, such if I want to get my instrument rating or my commercial rating or those things, I can do that for free through the Civil Air Patrol. The other cool thing is, because the cadet program, which is for ages 12 through 20, my son can join. So my son has signed up as well, and now we're serving together in the Civil Air Patrol. He's doing it as a cadet. I'm doing it as a senior, which is the adult member. So, and I'm meeting other pilots, and I'm meeting other instructors, and I have a feeling I'm going to make this happen sooner rather than later.
You know what's wrong with this?
I'm kind of getting connected.
You know what you're
What's
doing
that?
wrong with this? If you buy your first full-scale plane for yourself, you need to buy one more for CG.
I think he'll have to borrow mine. I'll get him the 450 full scale, and I'll get the 700. Yeah. So that's the other part, right? Is once you get your license, how do you fly regularly enough to stay proficient? It's not one of those things you want to do just once a year for fun. It's a little too dangerous for that. So I think the draw for me for Civil Air Patrol was, once I get my license, there are plenty of ways to get flight time. And even if it's not mission related, you can rent. Well, you can't rent because the aircraft belongs to the Air Force, the Civil Air Patrol. Because it's a government agency, they can't charge you to use them, but you pay for gas and maintenance fees basically to fly the airplanes. So it becomes quite a discount to use them outside of mission time. So that's what I'm doing. Kind of trying to weave that into my modeling career, so to speak. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it'll take me. I don't know if I'll be able to get it done in a year, but within 2 years, I will be flying full scale. I will put money on it right here and right now. And then you guys can come back and watch this video and see if it's true or not. So that's how my flight went. It totally turn my life upside down as I'm trying to figure out how to make it a reality.
Nice.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, and you might have heard this, Casper. You listened to RC Today show. They just did a show on crossing over to full scale, and you know, I was a little bit like, no way, because I mean, I'm going through all of this trying to figure out how I'm going to make this happen. And then here they do is pump out a show on crossing over to full scale, but they went a completely different direction. They went in the ultralight sport, sort of a unlicensed flight, manned flight, which, I don't know, to me, it makes me a little bit nervous. I kind of want to fly I don't know. I can't say I'll never fly an ultralight, or but it's I don't know. I kind of want to go the whole deal. But yeah, I totally thought they were going to talk about cheap ways to get your pilot's license, like join a club, Civil Air Patrol, all those things that I've been working on trying to figure out. But they totally went an opposite direction, which was cool because I didn't really think much about that. So, the reality of it is, for $15,000 or so, you could probably have an airplane that you're fully legal to fly unlicensed and just go take off from the local airport and have fun. But that's almost DJI quadcopter territory, if you ask me. It's like, I kind of want people to be regulated just a little bit and not just willy-nilly go out and fly around. So, but definitely interesting.
Yeah, I've seen some of that, and I've known a few people that have lost lives on those things. So I'm not an ardent fan of not having some little bit of canopy around me and a reliable power plant that's been certified and checked over by a certified flight mechanic. And I've owned 2 airplanes in the past at different times, so they're kind of an expensive hobby to own as well. So prices have certainly gone up, and the price of avgas, if you get the regular professional avgas and not regular car gas, it's pretty expensive.
That it is. So I've talked to some people who. So I've got another couple of friends who are interested in getting their license. One of them is on a fast track. So the cool thing is, if you're a veteran, a U.S. veteran with post 9/11 benefits, they will pay for you to get your pilot's license through Veteran Affairs. So I have a friend who's a retired Air Force who is now getting his private pilot's license at no cost to him. So he's doing it pretty quick because they're paying for everything. He's doing it through a local college. We have a college that has an aviation program, and it's basically just school for him. He does classes, and all of the instructor flights are considered lab time for the college. So it's all covered under benefits. So he's trying to get his instructor license, and if he becomes a certified instructor, and I don't have mine yet, he told me he will take me out and help me get mine for free. He won't charge me for instructor, so that'll be helpful. But he's also trying to talk me into going in with him on buying a plane, just for the purpose of getting into it and then training and then selling it. Which it sounds funny, but somebody else told me that's how they got their license. It was a Facebook conversation I had that they basically said, look, go buy a used, old, Cessna 152 for, $10,000 or $15,000. Use it to get your license, and then sell it when you're done, and you'll come out basically. You'll break even on the airplane, and all you end up doing is paying for fuel costs, whatever maintenance and storage fees you had, and then your instructor. You know, and then you're not paying to rent a plane for your instruction, but it still sounds a little bit risky to me because the maintenance cost is an unknown factor, especially on an older plane. Could be nothing, could be a lot. And then I've got to figure out how to pay to have it stored, or, you know, at least tied down at an airport or something. So I don't know if I come out much ahead when it's all said and done.
Yeah, always.
What I need to do is find somebody who owns a plane and just loves to fly and wants to take me up, and I will pay for gas. If you're watching right now, I will pay for gas. And just take me up. Oh, you have to be an instructor too, because I need that part. So I need an instructor who has a plane, who just wants to take me up, and log hours for him and log hours for me, and we'll be golden. And I'll self-study ground school. I'm doing my own simulator time, so it should be quick and easy. All right, we'll see if anybody calls me.
The cheapest plane is 17.5. That's on USD.
17.
And half.
Is that a new plane though?
Yeah, quite. Yeah, a little bit from 1979.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, I know lots of people flying those old, late '60s, early '70s Cessnas. They're still chugging along.
Yeah, and it's flybarless.
So, yeah, it is flybarless. That's true. Yeah, so that's the other thing, right? Is it's another time suck. So I have to figure out how I manage, because I'm not giving up the RC hobby. That's one thing I want to be clear on, because I've had to resolve that in my own head, which is, oh great, now I've got all this time I want to invest in getting a pilot's license, which it does take some time. Am I gonna be able to still get to the flying field and do build videos and all that stuff? And I've pretty much resolved the fact that I'm not getting out of RC, so I'm just gonna have to figure out how to add in an hour or two a week. I'd love to do an hour a week at a minimum to get my full scale. But now, Casper, do you have a license?
Oh yeah.
And how long did it take you to get your license once you started flying, to get your hours?
Well, it was a while ago, so take that into consideration. We're talking early '80s, and the requirement then wasn't as many hours as it requires now, and the price of everything was much reduced. But it took me a year and a half, but I was in the Air Force also, so it was difficult finding time, to cut away and take the lessons and get the flying time. Plus, I had an airplane at the time also, so. But I couldn't find an instructor that would teach me in my airplane because I had a tail dragger, so nobody knew how to fly a tail dragger.
To take you up in the tail dragger.
Yeah, nobody knew how to fly the tail dragger, so I had to transition to a Grumman Cheetah, I think it was, to finish off my lessons and take my flight exam.
Now, do you think it was worth it to buy the plane? We are totally off topic, by the way, from Heli Hangouts, but we usually do that. We usually go off topic at least once anyway. But did you buy your plane with the intention of just using it to get trained?
Not really. I was planning on keeping it and flying as well. The first plane, the tail dragger, was fairly inexpensive. It was essentially it's a Cessna 140, which is essentially a Cessna 150 with a tail wheel rather than a nose wheel, and a two-place. So it was fairly economical, fun to fly into places, and I puddle jump and had a couple of friends with airplanes. We'd fly into places, have breakfast, and fly out. My second aircraft was a step up, was a retrack. It was a Piper Comanche, 250 horse retrack with variable pitch prop.
Wow.
Those are fairly expensive to maintain, and that probably wasn't worth the effort. And I sold it after 2 or 3 years, so I didn't keep it long.
Wow. That's cool. I tell you what, man, it is really cool being in control of an airplane. That is a feeling that's hard to get somewhere else. I've been actually thinking about it because I'm getting more and more into FPV on the RC side. Is it the same feeling or not? I don't know, but there are some similarities in that being in the cockpit sort of a perspective that is just unique. But yeah, I haven't done anything yet that was like flying a small aircraft. You know, I've flown as a passenger in commercial airlines a lot, way more than I'd ever cared to admit. For a while, I was traveling. I was flying up to four flights a week for work, so I got a lot of air miles. But there's just something about sitting down with the yoke in your hand and just being in control. And I think the smaller airplane even makes it much more fun because it's you know, it's a little bit more organic feeling. So you kind of ride the waves a little bit, so to speak, in the air. But anyway, I just it set me on a course that has me sort of incessantly looking for ways to make it happen. And it's right now, time and money are my big hindrances. So we'll see if I overcome either of those.
Yep.
In the meantime, I learned about Civil Air Patrol, which I didn't even really know what it was. I didn't know. I've heard of it, but I didn't know much about it, and did not realize everything that they're up to. So even if I never get my pilot's license, I think the Civil Air Patrol mission is cool, and I can still become a scanner or an observer on a flight crew, even without a pilot's license. I can go up and be a crew member on mission. So I think that'll be fun.
Good.
So what else? Anything else? We got about, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I sent you a link. This is a Slovakian car, but you can transform it for a plane.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. The aeromobile.com. Yeah, that's awesome. How much is that one?
200,000 USD. Just.
That's it?
Yeah. And you can park in your garage. Less maintenance.
That would be cool. See that? Now, this is very high-tech and far-fetched today, but in 5 or 10 years, that might be the next, Tesla that more and more people start to get them.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I like that.
Yeah, for full-scale flying, I'm much more looking forward for the auto gyro, because it's halfway in the plane. Auto gyro. It's halfway through
I don't know what that is.
the planes and the helicopters. They have a spinning rotor, but they're using as a wing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that needs a link.
Yeah, just a second.
By the way, for those of you who are either watching live or will be viewing this in the future, the links that Daniel's posting are on the Heli Hangout number 35 event page on Google+. So in case you're looking for those.
It's a little bit cheaper, and they're much more stable than the planes. And it's between the helicopters.
So it is kind of a mix between a helicopter and a plane, huh?
Oh, yes. And they have RC auto gyros. So it's fun.
That is interesting. Uh-oh, Casper's
Yeah.
bringing up YouTube.
No, I was just seeing if it was posted there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just turned back a little bit for the helicopters. Did you ever use for helicopters telemetry? Or this is useful much more for the planes? Any telemetry system?
Telemetry?
Yeah.
The only thing I've really used for helicopters has been voltage. That's really it.
So it's don't worth it for the 450. Or put a TM 1000 or 1100.
It doesn't work that well?
Okay, for the Forza with the full kit, in the combo kit, they coming with a GR flybarless system, which has a built-in telemetry system too. And this is the only things what I need to sacrifice when I switch back to the Spectrum. And I just thinking for
okay.
they have any positive things because for the DX6 when I hit the throttle or just switch off the throttle cut, they start counting. So this is like same thing. So
yeah, that's all I use on my helis. Is I use the timer. You know, I figure out how much flight time I'm getting, and then you know, I did have telemetry before, but you know, the telemetry I want. I would love to have a Futaba 14 FG with the two-way telemetry system. I've got the 8 FG, and it doesn't have telemetry, but the 14 would. And what I'd really like to have is the gauge on that. So not only the voltage, but also the capacity used. You know. But that's the only thing I would really care about. But right now, I'm just using a timer for everything.
yeah, this is the other point for the DX6. They're supporting telemetry system.
That's cool. What receivers do you have to get for telemetry? Look at you bringing us back on topic. Good job.
Yeah, they have Spectrum TM 1000. I think it's a little bit older. This is for the DSM2, and for the DSMX they have a TM 1100. I don't know anything about this. I just checking the in the last hangout we just talking about. I'm thinking for buying a GR transmitter or Spectrum, and the only reason why I choose the DX6 is the backlight, the better screen, and they have free base switches.
Right.
And
cool.
After I check all of the forums, and they said it's awesome. So it's everything inside looks like a DX9. If I need to do any setup for any helicopters, because the DX6 is quite new, I'm just going to YouTube and type it same model number, but looking for a DX9 setup, and everything is there. So I still can use the same config file. Don't need to change anything.
That's a good tip.
Plus the DX6 is the second Spectrum transmitter, which is supporting the wireless training function.
Yeah, wireless training is cool. Hey, by the way, I did find the Goblin 380 picture that I was looking for on Facebook, and this was posted by RotorQuest, and I'm seeing, I don't see it in the picture, but the comments say $395 US for the Goblin 380.
I take it it's a bare bones kit.
Yeah, I believe so. Comes in 2 color options.
Yeah, the red and yellow.
Yep. Yeah, so it looks like $395 for the basic kit.
The only things what I don't like in Goblin, the crash cost it's much higher than anything else.
That's exactly why I didn't get a Goblin. I was going to get a Goblin 700, and I was just looking at the math, and it varies because a lot of people will say, the crash cost isn't that bad because the tail boom, which would be a significant part of the cost, that has the breakaway nylon bolts, and a lot of people say that the boom doesn't get damaged in a crash. But I don't know. It seemed like the Raptor 700 is stupid cheap on crash parts, so I ended up going with that, and I'm glad I did. Obviously I haven't crashed it yet, and maybe I won't for a while, but it was kind of reassuring to know that I can afford to crash it if I want to, or if I don't want to. Because I don't want to. If I have to.
If it happens.
If I do, yes, if it happens. Shameless plug. I do have a couple of Spectrum receivers for sale. If anybody's interested, I have an AR6200 and an AR6210. One of them, the 6210 is a DSM-X, and the 6200 is a DSM-2. And the 6200, I have a satellite with it as well, a DSM-2 satellite. So if you're interested in those, let me know, because I keep meaning to list them and I keep forgetting. I did post a picture of them in the RC Hangar Time group, and just never got around to actually getting them listed. And by the way, I did Joe Maxey. I did sell him my satellite receivers that I actually had in the 450 build. So Joe, if you're watching this, I will get them in the mail soon. I promise. He's already paid me and everything, so I'll get them out this weekend. But yeah, if anybody else wants any of those others, I don't know if anybody needs a 6200, but I used it in my 500. It was just fine, particularly with the satellite. But it would be a good, if anything, a good bench setup.
Yeah, I use the same 6200 for my K-bar, just the satellite, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with brownout or anything like that with that. So not with helicopter flying. I could see you wouldn't want to get too far away with a plane on it, I'm sure, but helicopters are generally close enough that I never saw a problem.
With Christmas coming up, let's say somebody laid $1,000 in front of you and said you had to spend it on RC stuff. What would you buy?
Crash kit for my helicopter.
Wow.
First of all, I'm waiting for the next Friday because Black Friday is coming, and maybe a GR 700 with the Scorpion engine, some Castle, a ESC, and
you just ran out of your budget.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's yes, for £4,000, it's better.
Yeah, can we get a pay raise for Christmas? If I had $1,000 I had to spend right now on RC stuff, I would probably look at fully outfitting maybe a Chase 360 for my son. Getting him, maybe I could afford to get a decent transmitter with it for him too. So, and then he would have his own equipment and not be using my stuff because he doesn't want Dad's hand-me-downs. What about you?
We talked about Goblins, and if I had $1,000 in mad money, maybe a 570.
Oh yeah, forget my son. I'd rather do that.
I don't know that I'd get much more than the kit for $1,000. I mean, I might get that and a motor. be about that motor and blades, and that'd probably be it.
Yeah, one of these days I would like to try. Yeah, one of these days a Goblin just to try it. I really like the way they look. I mean, if I had to pick, you know, the nicer looking models that I've seen, I've always been fascinated with the Goblin design. Although I do like some of the sleeker models, like the Forza. Looks really nice as well. I like the way that looks. Although I even like, so I pretty much like all helis apparently, because I like the Thunder Tiger Raptor 700. I like the way it looks. I like the way the 700 looks better than the way the 550 looks, but I still kind of like the 550, even though a lot of people hate on that. I think it looks all right. But there's just something about the Goblin that is really fascinating.
Yeah, maybe I just buy an upgrade kit for free blade for the 450 Forza plus the EX extensions and be the 6S system. But I just nearly spent 600 USD for buying my new kits. It's hard, but and from the other side, for quad, I'm tempting to buy the FPV ready to fly Nano QX.
Yeah.
Fat shark and everything is inside in the box. It looks cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I actually I'm looking at something like their little micro vapor with the FPV. I think it would be fun to have a little plane that's that small to fly FPV. I think that would be kind of neat. Although the problem with a plane, just like in the larger models, is you have to plan your ingress and your egress. You can't just stop and hover like you can the quad. So indoors, you've got to be a little bit more thoughtful about your flight pattern, your circuit. You can't just like zoom around and stop. So that might be a little bit more challenging.
Well, they can stop, but they will be costly.
Well, they stop when they hit stuff. All right, guys. Well, I'm getting really tired, and we're pretty close to being wrapped up here. So do you have anything else? I think I'm going to call this a night.
No, it's fine. It's 4 o'clock here, so I
I'm
need to
good
go to sleep.
Yeah, it's about time for you to wake up.
Yeah.
Anything else, Casper?
No, I think I'm fine.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Thin night, but it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's me and 1 or 2 people. I think it's just awesome to come hang out regardless. So I appreciate it. Good talk. So sorry we took everybody on a little bit of a ride off on the full scale side, but it wouldn't be a heli hangout if we didn't talk about something that has nothing to do with helis, at least every so often. So we gotta do that every once in a while. Keep you on your toes, but. I guess that's it. We'll call this. I will put this out as a podcast probably tomorrow. So, trying to get in the habit of putting the audio feed out within the weekend, within a couple days after the actual hangout happens. So, watch for that if you're looking for the audio side. Although if you've got this far in the video, you probably don't need the audio anymore because you've just watched the entire video. So. Keep that in mind for the next one. All right, guys. Well, thanks, and I'll get the next one scheduled, and we'll see you then.
All right.
Peace.
Yeah.